as you see, 3,500 naira. It went from 5,500 naira to almost 13,000 naira in some parts of the country. This morning, our guest is in the studio. Our guest is Prince Tony Ezimo. He is a political philosopher and public affairs commentator joining us this morning. It's always a pleasure to have you joining in.
Thank you. Good morning, good morning, Nigerians.
And you know Udwak is in the studio. Udwak.
That's right. It feels good to be here again. And yes, this conversation is very crucial, actually, for me, and I'm sure for somebody out there listening, it's going to be a great discourse.
Absolutely, it's going to be a great discourse. Yesterday, the naira closed at about 1,700 naira in the parallel market and 1,549 naira or so in the official market. It's a crisis that there's coming from different dimensions. Different dimensions of the economy are suffering at the moment. Nigerians are lamenting hardship, hunger, starvation, markets, and you just have the numbers going up by the day. Inflation currently stands at 29.90%. Those other analysts say, look, officially, unofficially, the inflation figure should have been around 40% at the moment with the way the things are. Well, we'll talk about this, and we hope that you're joining the conversation when we open up the phone lines so that you can share your thoughts with us. Mr. Zimo, let's get to this quickly. The living crisis, or standards of living crisis, jumping from one state to another. I recall just over the weekend, Professor Usman Yusuf had said something about how the crisis, the living conditions of Nigerians has continued to deteriorate, and even in the north there's a big problem. And for him, it's surprising that some parts of the country, the southeast especially, and the south seem not to be perturbed about the living crisis. He says uncharacteristically quiet in the southeast. But again, this is not a regional problem, it's a national problem. Whether we like it or not, there's a food crisis that had been predicted long before now. And surprisingly, yesterday, I think it was Tunde Ednot, big on social media, he posted a video about how Nigerians were queuing for fuel in 1974. 50 years after, Nigerians are still queuing up for fuel. There's hunger in the land. This is a country that produces crude oil. Talking about cement, Nigeria has huge deposits of limestone, which is one of the basic what do you call it now?
Solid mineral.
Yes, solid mineral for production of cement and all of that. We had thought that we would get to cement efficiency when we started to produce cement in this country. But again, people talk about the sabotage and monopoly or duopoly in that market space. All of these have accumulated into what we see today. More people, bricklayers and builders, seem to be mostly unemployed today because of the cost of cement. How do you respond to all of these in one breath?
Well, I listened to Prof when he was giving his analysis, and the number of other Northerners who have analyzed the silence of the Southeast. And of course, I am from the Southeast, and I tell you most solemnly, it will be foolish of any prominent Southeast figure to come out to begin to lament now, because we'll be lamenting, and it seems as if we have been foolish. So I think it is left for the rest of the countries to lament. So those who are saying that the Southeast are quiet now, they still have a long way to go, because we may remain quiet for a very long time. And I have said sometime, in fact countless times, that the Southeast and Ndibo are the real proponent of one Nigeria, because there is no village you go to in Nigeria today you will not get an Igbo man doing exceedingly well. We don't just believe in, because there's this concept an Igbo man believes that Ebonyi Bikon Awachi, which means where you live, you make it livable for you. All right. So wherever you find an Igbo man, he will want to make that place livable for you. That is why when you talk about these Biafra stuffs, secession and stuff like that, many Igbo people don't actually buy into that, because we are everywhere and we are doing well. So that is why when things were going on very badly in the last administration, Igbo people were lamenting. They weren't lamenting because of themselves, but they want a country that is livable for all. But many saw it as if these people are recalcitrant people, or they complain a lot and stuff like that. Now we have entered an Armageddon. In fact, we have entered not even back to square one. Square zero, because Nigeria today, we have not experienced hunger we are experiencing today. Every single Nigerian is hungry, even the rich.
But you know that they say hunger knows no tribe, knows no religion, and all of that. So why does it now seem like talking all this while we're not going to talk again? Because I mean, maybe are you saying that the people in the southeast are not hungry? Are you saying that they're not experiencing the difficulties?
An average Igbo man is a very resilient person.
Right.
Understand, even you, I'm sure you are so resilient that you can survive any excruciating crucible. And that is why I'm saying we have been lamenting that this country was designed to fail. Let us come together and make it work. But people are looking at it as if these people are complaining and stuff like that. Now everybody now is hungry. Look at, you can't buy fuel in a country that produces fuel. Almost the largest, we have the largest fuel production in the whole of Africa, yet you can't buy fuel in your country. Currently, I heard that the northern governors, a few of them are saying they cannot bring food down south again. Maybe we will seize our oil, that it will not go up north again. If that is what people are,
this conversation shouldn't take that shape of or this, it's a national conversation. It is not that one part of the country is having it better than the other. And many people have said, look, the fact that the southwest, where the current president is from, has taken it upon themselves to take this protest. Recall that there was a protest in Ogun State, and then yesterday in Osun State as well there was a protest, and yesterday there was a protest in Oyo State. So this means that unlike what it was in the past administration, where people said, oh, the Northerners said they're not going to protest and all of that. The people from the southwest, where the president is from, have taken it upon themselves to say, look, things are not going well. We need to register our displeasure. Isn't that some sort of an indication that all is not well, and we all need to wake up, irrespective of our ethnicity and irrespective of our tribe?
The country is sick, and I have always said that Nigeria was designed to fail. I've kept saying, during the campaigns, we saw the lineup of men who came to governors, and many people, out of tribal sentiment, voted for their own, irrespective of the fact that we know, yes, this man is a good man, but does he have the capacity at the moment to fix Nigeria? But many people voted him because of religious sentiment, because of tribal sentiment and stuff like that. Now this is where we are. I am very happy that the people of Southwest are even leading in the protest, because hunger does not know any tribe, and the people in the Hem of Affair do not even care. Because you see, last week in the National Assembly, you will not believe that the members of National Assembly increased their salaries and say to cushion the effect of hardship in the country. Yes.
Tell us about this.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
They increased their own salaries.
To cushion that.
But we're still dealing with a minimum wage.
Nobody is talking about the minimum wage. Nobody is talking about the poor man in the streets of Nigeria. Now the elites are so that's why I tell you, Nigeria was designed to fail.
But it is that the responsibility of the RAMFAC, the fiscal responsibility, agency to manage, salaries and emoluments of
laws do not work.
Law enforcement, government people in government.
Laws do not work in this country. That is why you have fraudulent phrases like waiver. Fraudulent terminologies like waiver in our constitution. What are you actually waiving? So they can just sit down and just mess everybody up. Let me tell you, it was on Friday, a senator from Anambra left Abuja and said, let him go and be with his people, that the hunger is too much. That he wants to go and stay with his people, so that whatever he has, he can be sharing with them. So that if the masses rise to pursue politicians, they will spare him. That was his exact words. So that tells you, if they know that things are wrong and they know that they're doing things wrong.
All right, so I'm just going to go, from the place of the reality is clear, right? It's clear that we're going through a hardship, right? The deed has been done. Now, some quarters will want to focus on the fact that, hey, what can we do? What can we do rightly at this time to ensuring that at least we are. I mean, you just mentioned something about the those in authority who have given themselves some salary increment and all of that, and he had actually also made mention of the RMFAC.
The right would be the national salaries and income as well as wages commission.
Okay, great. So they're supposed to look into these things, but now we have not seen all of that, and some people already. There are some calls that are coming from diverse centers saying that probably we got it wrongly in terms of our policies. Probably we got it wrongly in terms of the kind of system of governance that we pursue. Do you fall in line with such arguments?
We got it wrong from day one, which is the Nigerian Constitution.
Oh,
that very document is fraudulent. That very document was designed to continuously favor the elites against the masses. Until Nigeria comes back on a round table and decide to jettison that constitution, I have always told you that. Until that constitution is jettisoned, then we get a people-oriented constitution, a constitution that discusses the welfare of Nigerians, a constitution that places everybody on a level playing ground. Until we do that, every other thing is like treating the symptom without getting to treat
if you recall, there's been some amendments to the Constitution during the Buhari administration, right there.
How deep was the amendment? The amendment that will only favor the elites, and sometimes when they're even going towards the amendment, they see that it's no longer favoring them, they will pull out.
Brings me to talk about the question of restructuring. It's been a big issue over time, and the current president is one of the big proponents of restructuring. Many people have said now is the time to do it, since we're talking about state police and the federal government as well as state governments coming together to agree that there's need for state police. Why don't we just do everything at the same time? Exactly. Have a total restructuring to full and true federalism, where the states contribute to the center as against the center being too powerful and owning and taking and then distributing to the federating units. Why don't we have that restructuring now? Do you agree that this is the time to do a restructuring and totally jettison this constitution and come up with a new one like you've always proposed?
If they are courageous enough to restructure Nigeria now, that would be so wonderful. But I tell you in all sincerity, I'm not seeing any of them planning to do so. For instance, last week the governor sat with the president, and the only thing that came to their head is just state police. I tell you, the governors are interested in state police because they want to be using it as a political tool against their enemies. Otherwise, have they actually done every other thing they ought to do as governors? Tell me how many states in Nigeria have conducted local government election? In the whole of South is only Enugu. Even my own governor, Professor Ludo, that is speaking bogus English for us, has decided not to conduct local government election, and he's one of the major people proposing state police. So many of them proposing this state police without touching other gray areas of governance are only interested in using those as an apparatus against their political opponents. And I tell you, if state police is instituted without properly restructuring Nigeria, governors will become emperor in this country. And it will not. Already,
people say they're emperors, but then let's talk about this issue of what's it called now? I'm missing it. We've come to a point where things, they say, if we don't act now, things are going to fall out, really badly. There's some people are already saying the center cannot hold anymore. But then we've seen governors, the PDP governors came out over the weekend or so last week to say that the president somewhat doesn't lacks the capacity to manage the country. The PDP re-echoed that as a party yesterday in a statement by its publicity secretary, and we're seeing this. And the federal government or the presidency is responding to the governors and the PDP, and also saying that the PDP governors are governors in their states. We've not done anything. What are they doing with the resources that comes to them? Since the removal of subsidy, state allocations have gone up. Maybe does it mean that Nigerians are really looking in the wrong direction when we talk about the issues that Nigerians are dealing with? Because as it is, if states are getting more allocation now since the removal of subsidy, maybe then we need to be speaking to the governors and asking questions. What have you done with these, new allocations?
Exactly. What most of these governors are doing is to divert our attention so that all the attention will be focused on the federal government. When they will be there, that's destroying everything. All right. Like you rightly said, the state allocation has gone up. I tell you, most Nigerians will not know this. The governors have not mentioned it. Even some of the executive members do not even know that the state allocation has gone up by 70%. For instance, I was told, or rather, I saw it on the internet yesterday. I think Anambra State currently is getting 19 billion monthly. As against,
is that possible? 19 billion?
As against 6 billion during Buhari's regime. All right, and I can assure you that some executive members of Professor Ludo may not even know. So what are they actually doing with the funds? The security votes that they always divide the entire allocation into three, then give 1% about 30% to what they call security vote. How secured are our states? If you go to Anambra State today, the local Anambra South Senatorial Zone, about 4 local government is already ceded to terrorists. Almost the kind of thing you get in Borno State. So what are the governors doing with our funds?
Well, let's look at the place of diversification of the economy. I mean, quite a number of persons have come out to saying that diversifying the economy is more of a realistic solution. But do you think it's too difficult to do given the current situation? And I'd like to also point your mind towards something that has to do with the building up of our foreign reserves as a way to strengthen the naira, based on the value of the naira as it is right now. What do you think about this?
There are a few things that Nigeria should even start doing. My brother, why should I pay my school fees in dollars in Nigeria? Are you aware that a number of secondary schools, I'm talking of secondary schools, in this Abuja, are collecting school fees in dollars? Why should it be? Do you know it's a crime to spend another currency in Britain? It is a crime to spend another currency in China and America. It is only in Nigeria you come and you get a lot of people, even the government officials are transacting in dollars.
No, but this is supposed to be a country of law.
Exactly. That is why most Ivy schools in Abuja, I mean secondary school, most Ivy secondary schools in this Abuja are collecting school fees in dollars. Why should it be? Very soon you go to Wuse Market and they ask you to buy tomato in dollars. So the drivers of Nigerian economy, in fact, not just economy, because when you talk about economy, people will think you are talking about the central bank governor and all that. But substantially, the governor takes instruction from the president. So the drivers of Nigeria should make our laws to be working. I see no reason why dollars should saturate Nigerian market, or most, even the contractors. Most contractors in Nigeria, you pay them in dollars. That shouldn't be. If they want to strengthen our economy, they should start by making our currency to be valuable, so that people will begin to see it as a transactional material. But as of today, practically everything, or most major transaction in Nigeria is done in dollars, and there is no country that will survive such an irresponsible policy.
Sticking with the foreign exchange crisis, yesterday the EFCC opened fire at the foreign exchange, black market
Sure.
operators, and many people say, look, that's the wrong approach. Those are the wrong people to to go forward, because those in government, state governors, are some of the people mounting pressure on the naira, because they receive these huge allocations. They take out whatever they want to take out of that allocation, and they're looking for the dollar to be able to stabilize it. They buy the dollar at whatever rate, just to be able to keep the monies that they're looting stable. What are we doing when it comes to sabotage of the nation's economy at all levels? Do you think that the president has the willpower to go against the real people who are causing this trouble? They also say, look, the banks are the people who are running the arbitrage of the currency of the dollar, round tripping the dollar. They get the dollars from the CBN or wherever. Nigerians bring in the dollar and all of that. They take the dollars in people's accounts, sell them to the black market operators. The black market operators sell them to the ordinary Nigerian who's looking for the dollar, and the guy brings it back into his bank account, and the bank sells it back at a higher rates to the black market people. So why are we not looking in this direction? The CBN is a regulator. Why are we not seeing the CBN really playing the role of regulators with the banks, the commercial banks who warehouse these dollars and run the arbitrage?
The problem is that every sector of Nigerian politics, economy has been politicized. The commercial sector is politicized. The judiciary is politicized. Of course, National Assembly, that one is gone. That is the problem. See, the president may have the will. I don't know whether he has or not, but from what is going on, he's not showing any sign. But assuming he has, you discover that at the end of the day, if he decides now to, to focus on Mr. A, at the end of the day, he may discover that Mr. A will trace the whole thing either back to him or back to somebody very close to him. And that is one of the problems that, that's one of the